Hi, Godly Chicks and Chants. This is your girl Takaya coming at you with another Godly Chick episode, but it will not be about love, at least not today. So, let's get into it. Yesterday morning, I made a post, and in this post was a woman sitting on a swing alone, and it was titled, "I don't know anymore." But the fact of the matter is that I do know, and it's not that I don't know, but it's that I am no longer willing to do what I know. What I was once so eager to dive into, I am now treading like a little child, afraid to go into the water. And now there is a battle between the hearts. There is a battle between what I know to be God and what I myself personally just feel is not right. The very foundation of the way I even looked at love has been shaken and destroyed by the situation I find myself in and by God. And I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I'm trapped. And I feel like Jeremiah felt in Jeremiah chapter 15 when he said, "Why has my pain been perpetual and my wound incurable, refusing to be healed? God, will you indeed be to me like a deceptive brook with water that is unreliable?" And just like Jeremiah felt deceived by God, so much so that he called God a deceptive brook, so too have I felt, especially regarding this situation. Because the Lord has shown me many beautiful things about my life, and even many beautiful things about the man I would marry, the marriage, the children that were literally little prodigies walking around and so beautiful, and the house and the dog and the destiny and everything, and even showed me and my husband being like 90 something years old in this vision. And I was like, Lord, we gonna live to be that old? But my husband was with me in the hospital as I was passing away and dying, going on to be with the Lord, and I looked to be like 91 and he was like 95, 96. I've seen all of that, but God did not show me the pain I would have to overcome to get there. He did not show me this. And a part of me felt like something that could have been so beautiful and so easy has now become more complicated than a Rubik's Cube, and that is not of my doing. But now I am at a crossroads, and I have a decision to make, and it is not a very easy one. And yesterday, when I made that post and I sat at my computer, I was so prepared to make my decision, and my heart had reached this point of grief and darkness that I had just never felt before with any man, never, because I usually don't let it get that far. And I don't let it get that far because I am a very logical person. And not when it comes to God. I don't mean that I always have faith. Trust me, if I didn't have faith, I wouldn't be in California now. I'm not logical when it comes to God. But when it comes to men, I'm very logical because I've studied them so much and I know how they operate and how they function and how they work. And back when I was dating men, I always put them up before God. And the minute God saw me being treated less than anything he desired, he snatched me out of their lives ferociously, and they never entered my life again. And most times it wasn't even that, because in all honesty, I have been courted by some amazing men. They just simply weren't the man that God had for me. So he told me to let them go because they were not in his will. But going back to my point, I've always been very logical when it came to men, and I don't allow a lot of foolishness. And the reason being is because I know all too well the games men play, the tests they try to perform on women they're vetting, and how they keep trying to disrespect a woman to see how much they can get away with. I mean, the list of mental games and strategies that men have, well, I'll say boys have, are endless. And that is why I do not deal with them as I deal with women women because we are emotional creatures. And I understand that sometimes, we say things that we don't mean and different things like that. But men are not emotional. They're very calculated. If they do not like you, they will tell you or rather show you. If they don't want to get close to you, they will not get close to you, nor will they open themselves up to you and reveal anything deep about themselves. A man can have you around them all the time, and yet the relationship can be surface level because they already know that you're not the one that they want, and you'll be continuously asking for more and for more year after year until one day he ups and leaves you, and in 6 months he's married to the woman of his dreams, doing everything you asked him to do. He's doing it for her. And guess what? Not only is he doing it for her, but he's doing it with ease. And so in my studies of men, and even with talking to men and learning from them over the years, one thing that I know to be true, one thing that all men have agreed on, is that no man anywhere leaves a woman they truly desire on the shelf. And the reason they don't do this is because they're afraid that someone else will get her. And if it's their dream woman, they are just not willing to take that chance. And either they are actively cleaning up their life and getting their life together so they can hurry up and make room for her, or she's just not it. But there is no in between. There is no nuance. And what that tells me is that not only am I not this man's dream woman, but he thought so little of me that he thought that I would just be here with no life, with no love interest, with no one pursuing me, waiting for him year after year after year, while he lived his life and came back to me whenever he felt like it, whether it was 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, or 10, whenever he thought he was ready. He thought that I would remain here suffering for him and waiting for him. And that has shown me just how little he thought of me, as if my purpose for being here and waiting for him was to try to catch a man who didn't want to be caught. And so many people, I feel, have done that to him, that he could not discern the difference, and he could not see that me standing in faith had nothing to do with him, but everything to do with God. And my obedience was tied to what God showed me. And the truth of the matter is that it took me a whole year before I even accepted this man as being a part of God's will for my life. And that is the truth. Because I never asked for this. And unlike others who may have wanted this, I never wanted this. I only wanted to be loved, cherished, protected, cared for, and treated right. I didn't need all of this, and I told God this several times. I would have been happy marrying a mailman down the street as long as he loved me, loved God, and treated me well. Because the things that attract other women, they just don't attract me. The things that entice other women do not entice me. If they did, I would hold on to this man for dear life. But I do not care about any of it at all. The things I care about are internal. They are not external. Because if a man loses all of that, everything that he has, and he is humbled like Job, and I am only left with him, what kind of man would I have? What kind of man would I wake up to? These are the kinds of questions that I ask myself whenever I'm observing a man. And that is why the things that matter to me are within the heart, the mind, and the soul. Because what is a big house if the man in it has poor character? What is money if the man who has it does not naturally want me or love me? What is a nice car if the man who drives it neglects me? What is status if the man who has it looks up on me and sees Leah instead of Rachel? And that is how you have made me feel, so unwanted and so very ugly. Except the difference between me and most women is the level of self-love and self-respect that I have causes me to reject immediately anyone who puts me in a mental state that makes me feel that way. And once I reject them, I remove them out of my life permanently, and I never look back. Because I know I am not only wanted, but I am a woman who is highly sought after, and I know that I am not ugly, but a woman who is desired by many, and a woman who radiates beauty from within, and it is not just physical. And me knowing that about myself, not to mention all the other beautiful, amazing qualities about me, causes me to walk away from anything that makes me question my worth. And I am not afraid of losing a man more than I am afraid of losing myself. And if I have to choose between the two, well, that is something I have learned from men, and I've learned it very well. And I will always choose myself and what is best for me. What is best for me spiritually, what is best for me mentally, what is best for me emotionally, and what is best for me overall. And God knows that about me. And He knows my heart. And even while He has tried to fight for you, even now, the battle has not yet been won. Because unlike God, I don't have a sea of forgetfulness to throw my mind in. I don't have a whiteboard brain where I can just take an eraser and wipe away the vision God showed me along with the word He gave me about you on New Year's. I am not God. And I so wish I had those attributes embedded in me, but even the most loving and forgiving person, which I have been, has to wake up and one day face reality. And that is what I have done. And now the decision that I make will be a conscious one. It will be concise, and it will be made with all possibilities and outcomes in mind. And however it ends up for me, I am willing to deal with the good and the bad of that decision. But right now, I have not come to that conclusion yet. And even when I try to come to it, God is making it very hard for me. A couple weeks ago, I was in my bed and I started to doze off, and I had this vision that scared me. And in this vision, I saw this demon-looking witch thing with the hat on. Looked like something that could have been out of The Walking Dead or The Wrong Turn. Y'all know how ugly those things were on The Wrong Turn. And her face looked to be thousands of years old, almost like she was melting at the face and barely any skin, and her bones were coming through, and she looked horrific. And she was eating this thing, going to town on whatever this was she had in her hand, and blood was dripping from her mouth. And in the vision, I looked closer. And as I got closer, she just really started, just like, not me trying to do the sounds. But she was just tearing this thing up, looked like it could have been flesh. And when I got closer, and I looked at it, it had the word blessings written on it. And when I asked the Lord about it, as soon as I got out of the vision and jumped up out of my sleep, because I was dozing off when I had it, I came against it, prayed against it, and I asked the Lord about it. And He said, that is your marriage that the enemy is trying to devour. And I opened up my Bible, and shares my name, Takaya. Every scripture 3-4 times in a row. Every time I flipped the page and tried to get a different word, it was all on marriage and faith. And it was so bad that I threw. I didn't sit it down nicely. I didn't even toss it. I threw my Bible to the wall, and I cried because I do not understand this. And still, after that, I battled. Then, just a couple days ago, I had this dream when I went to sleep, and I was speaking against this man in this dream, and I was saying that I didn't want to be married to him anymore, and I was done. And as I said this demon who looked like it could have been the Wish Master. I know if any of y'all have seen that movie before, please don't go watch it. Don't even go look it up. It's so ugly, so hideous. This thing that looked like it could have been Wish Master from a movie I seen years ago when I was a child. I was 9 years old. Scarred me for life. Don't go watch it, y'all. But this thing was sliding on the floor, and he said, "Your wish is my command." And when I realized what I had said and that he was about to grant me this wish, I cast this demon out of my house, and he went out screaming and hollering. But then the back door was open in my house, and he left, but he came back to the back door. And now, as I was sliding the patio door, trying to slide and close it shut, he was screaming and hollering and trying to get back in. And there were big boxes in the way that were keeping me from shutting this door all the way. And I was fighting with this demon. And this is truly a depiction of how I have felt. It's truly a depiction of how I have battled. Because I've never had my heart and my hopes shattered in such a way that I truly became confused. And the pain has been so deep that it, in a sense, blinded me to what I know. And even these dreams and visions that used to help me get back in the will of God so easily, even they have not been enough to help this man now. And lately, if I'm being 100% honest with y'all, I have been counting the cost. And I've asked God, is this truly the only way you have for me? Because you were just about to give me another way, Jesus. You were just as fed up as I was until this man prayed. And for whatever reason he did, I do not understand. Because on New Year's, the Lord came to me and he said, "You will not cry over him anymore, for this is dishonorable to Kaya. He has dishonored you, and he has dishonored me. You have honored him at every turn, but he has dishonored you at every turn. And now I, the Lord, am freeing you from this." And when I cried out, you know what God said back to me? He said, "Let them eat cake." And the next day, he explained to me what he meant. And at first, I was devastated. Oh, I was crushed. I said, "Lord, please see my heart and my faithfulness and give him one more chance." And God said, "No, I will give you someone else, and you will be rewarded greatly for what you have done for him over these years." And then he told me to post my goodbye letter. And I thought I was really saying goodbye. But God knew that you would pray. And you went to God and prayed and cried out, and the Lord heard you. And then the Lord came back to me and said, "I have heard his prayers, and they have moved me, and I will give him another chance. Oh, boogity boogity. And now you're his boy again. And now everything is all sunshine, Care Bears, and rainbows, and gummy worms. Now you're his boy." Okay, I sound crazy. I mean, man, you got to laugh to keep from crying sometime. Like, I'm serious. So that's all you had to do was pray. And now you're his guy. And now everywhere I turn, I am surrounded by Proverbs 3:5, and I am surrounded by marriage, and I am surrounded and locked in as if your prayers can override my free will, while my prayers for you over the years seem to have gone unanswered. But yet I have had dream after dream, vision after vision, and I am surrounded with angels, and God Himself is fighting for you. And I don't like it. And that has made me very, very angry, because my heart feels damaged and broken and stuck. And I do not know how to unhear what the Lord told me at the beginning of the year. And the more I meditated on it, and I know I probably should not have, but I did. And the more I thought about it, the more I wanted you to be free and pursue what your heart and life and mind and body desired. Because more than I want to be married, I want to be married to a man who wants to be married to me. And I am okay and fine with that not being you. That is what I feel. You do not understand. That is why I unfriended you, not to play games, but to give you what you kept showing me time and time again that you wanted. I mean, there truly is no point of even looking at me when your heart and body is with someone else. Why even look at me? No, be free. Because a double-minded man is not what I prayed for. A man who can see me and still keep looking and searching for someone better than me is not what I prayed for. A man who can study me as you have done for years, as the Lord has told me, and yet he still thinks that he needs something else. That is not what I prayed for. I prayed for a Jacob and Rachel type love. I prayed for a Jesus and his bride type of love. I prayed for a love that freely and willfully wants to love me like the husband and wife loved each other in the book of Songs of Solomon. And when the Lord came to me on New Year's and told me his judgment and what he was about to do, I mourned you. But then about 10, 11 days later, I snapped mentally. And suddenly, my heart wanted the new thing and the new man God said he was about to replace you with. And I said to myself, finally, God, you will see what I have seen all along. Finally, you will free me from this, because I thought it was foolish a long time ago. Especially after God told me that you knew his will in 2022. And I've tried to walk away from you many times before, but the Lord kept me here. And the only reason that I stayed was because of him. But finally, I thought to myself, the Lord is on my side. Finally, my tears have reached his ears in heaven until he himself has had enough. And I settled the matter in my heart. And I began walking away because I knew I deserved better treatment than this. But then God had mercy on you and gave you another chance. And the thing is, I have forgiven you. That is not what this is. Forgiveness, I can do freely. I have no problem with forgiveness, no problem at all. But forgiveness and the forgiveness I have given in the past does not mean that a man had access to me, nor did it mean that he had another chance. And that is where I became confused. And I am not used to God doing this for anyone, because I have walked away from situations much quicker for less. And now I have to take all the knowledge I have about men and say, forget it. I have to take all the wisdom I have poured into myself over the years to build up my self-esteem and self-love and say, ignore it. I have to take everything that I know about men and how they pursue what they love, desire, and want. And I have to throw it out of my head because for some reason, this situation is special. And God wants me to be still and give you another chance. And now there is a battle of the hearts. And the battle is between my heart and the heart of God. And if I'm being completely honest, I truly do not know who will win. Because I feel that the level of love that I'm on, the level of love and how much love I am so ready to pour out onto a man is so undeserving of this. And a flawed man, oh, I have absolutely no problem with that because I too have flaws. We all do. None of us are perfect. So this is not what that is. Because a flawed man who loves me is a man I can deal with. But a flawed man who it feels like I am trying to get to see me and love me, now that is something I have a huge problem with. And mistakes, I can forgive. Mistakes, I can let go of because I've done it so many times before, even for you. But it's not a mistake. A mistake defines as an action that is done accidentally. But this was no accident. Being in a relationship with someone for months is no accident. Taking time out of your days and weeks to talk with them over the phone and pour into them and give them your time is no accident. Building a connection with them, even though you knew the will of God in the back of your head, is no accident. Freeing up your schedule and planning vacations and trips is no accident. Making time for them and having them meet your mother or family is no accident. Making them think they really had a shot with you when we both know they did not is no accident. Having them fly here and go there and be with you is no accident. Treating them like they were your wife when you knew that I was is no accident. And that is why the Lord's anger burned against you. And he has forgiven you and let this go. And I do not want to condemn you. I promise you that is not what I am trying to do. But what I am trying to get you to understand is to see things from my point of view. Because when people hurt someone, they have a propensity to want the person they hurt to get over it quickly. They want them to hurry up and heal. They want the person they hurt to forget about it and just throw it away and just forget it because I make mistakes, you make mistakes. But it is not that simple, even though the offender wants it to be. And my love, my heartbeat, this is going to take much longer than 90 seconds for me to get over. And I don't really care what a neuroscientist has to say about it. And I am not saying that that was posted for me. I don't care if it was or not. But to even think that a person's pain can be summed up into 90 seconds is a delusion of fact within itself. Maybe for small offenses, yeah, of course. Someone ate your leftovers you had in the fridge and you're a little upset, or someone stole your favorite pen off your work desk. Of course, you can forgive that and be over that in 90 seconds. But my pain is not a 90-second ordeal. When I realized that for years I have prayed for you, I have fasted for you, warred for you in the spirit, done things and created things for you just because I wanted to see you smile and see you laugh. For years I had visions and dreams about you from God and from the angels of heaven themselves. For years I said no to doctors, lawyers, basketball players, to many men. At least I know about 40 of them. And that's no exaggeration, about 8 to 10 a year. No, 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 I can't wearing fake engagement rings, pretending to be married to you because I was married to the vision God gave me while you were free and did your own thing. And while I entertained no one, you seem to have entertained everyone. And that does not take 90 seconds to get over, because I realized that your actions were planned. They were concise, and you made a decision. And the decision that you made was done weighing the cost. And you did not care, and you had no regard for the will of God or for me. And that has caused me to say, well, if he had no regard for me and thinks so little of me, why should I have regard for him now? Why should I care about him now and think so highly of him? And when a person say they made a mistake when it was clearly a concise and planned decision, well, that avoids a person of all accountability and responsibility. And I am sorry, but I just cannot give you that. Because if it was truly a mistake, God himself would not have been angry and on the verge of replacing you. But he said that because he knew that you knew what to do and you would not do it. So I don't want to go on and on and on, because I am not a person who believes in condemnation. I truly do not. But what I do believe in is wisdom and understanding. And if I choose to say yes to you one last time, and I choose to get back on board with the will of God one last time, then you must understand what I am saying yes to. With all the knowledge and the wisdom that I know, I am ignoring all of it just to say yes to you. With all the pain that I feel and have felt for years, I am ignoring it just to say yes to you. With every dream and vision that God has given me of you being with someone else instead of me, and I have forgiven it, I have to throw it away in the sea of forgetfulness just to say yes to you. And if you do not understand how much love is in me saying yes to you one more time, then I fear that you will never know what true love and a godly love is. And if you do not understand that, then there is no way you could ever love me the way I need to be loved. And although I have had many dreams and many visions of you loving me like that, and shining so bright and shining like a light, and being kind and a true king and being this amazing man, I am not going to kill myself trying to help you get there when you don't want to get there. I am not going to hurt myself trying to help someone who does not want to be helped. Nor will I pour out my love to someone who prefers to drink from another cup. And honestly, I truly want you to look at me, hear me, see me, and feel me, and ask yourself, am I really what you want? Like, all jokes aside, all drama aside, all everything aside, and I hate I had to do this, but this is the only way I can talk to you. But I want you to look at me and ask yourself, do I really want her? Do I really want her? Because if there is any doubt and pullback and hesitation and fear and anywhere else your heart wants to be, I pray that you will go back to God and be honest with God and tell Him so that He can free me from this. Because although I am an amazing woman with so much kindness and affection and forgiveness and care and peace and love, you and I both know that I am not a woman who is like any other woman you have ever dated. And I must ask you, do you really want different? And it's totally okay if you do not. But I want you to think long and hard about that. Because there's things that you can run from with other women, but over here with me, I will not allow it. But the thing about it is, I'm going to expect the same from you. I don't want to just treat you and do you any kind of way and dishonor you and disrespect you and you allow it. That's not fair to you, but neither is it fair to me. But when you sign up with me to love, I need you to know that we're going to be a team and there is no I's. It is only us and we are going to build together. But when you are building together, sometimes you may get a cut here and a bruise there. But when you see the finished building, when you see the finished product in the end, it will be worth it. But if you are not willing to do that, I think you should just be honest with God and tell Him the truth. And I truly do not want to sway you one way or the other, nor will I rush you. But that is truly a question you need to ask yourself. Do I really want Takaya? Am I willing to be the man she needs? Am I willing to treat her the way God wants her to be treated? And if the answer is no, tell God and He will tell me. Just like He told me you were praying for me, just as clear as that. And I will move forward with my life. Because I do know that there are some men who would rather walk away and leave a good woman rather than change themselves to keep her. And I am totally okay if you fall in that category. That will not hurt me one bit. We can both go our separate ways because truthfully, I have already done so much mourning. But I want you to truly look at me and ask yourself that question and make the choice you need to make and do what works best for you in your life. But I will not try to control you or sway you one way or the other. That is why I am not afraid to even hold you accountable now. And this is something that other women would be afraid to tell you, but I am not. And I must tell you how you have made me feel, because unlike everyone else, I am not afraid of you. Nor am I afraid of losing you, simply because I was honest and conveyed how I felt with you. But I believe in love. That is teamwork, and inside of teamwork, there is accepting accountability. There's no way you can run around that. Not if you want real love. Not if you want true, deep, agape, godly love. There's just no way. I cannot take my car keys and scratch up your truck in my anger and write the B word all over it and say, oh, I made a mistake, when there were several moments that led up to that decision. So just as I could not run from that scenario, you cannot run from the choices you have made either, especially when those choices have affected someone else's heart. But the only way to get on the other side of redemption and restoration is to own up to your choices and say, this is where I fumbled, this is where I went wrong, and this is where I made a decision that wasn't in my best interest or the best interest of my destiny, and I apologize. Now here's how I'm going to fix it, or how we're going to fix it, and we're going to get through this, and then you move through it. But trying to make me ignore it and wanting me to be over it quickly and saying it was a mistake when it clearly wasn't, it's just not going to work over here. And I need you to know that we are going to own up to our problems, our shortcomings, and we are going to sharpen one another and do better and love each other the right way and God's way. But that cannot happen void of accountability and ignoring giant elephants in the room, because that is what makes for a terrible marriage. A marriage filled with animosity, a marriage filled with hurt, a marriage filled with pain and unspoken needs and requests, because two people are in a relationship and they're both afraid to speak their mind. And just as I am speaking mine, if we make it to the promised land, you need to speak yours as well. But I need you to understand that if I in fact decide to say yes to you and we do make it on the other side, I want you to never, ever let your insecurities or your mind question my love for you. And I want you to never question how much I care for you, because only love can choose to forget and move forward in this way. Only love can choose to honor in this way. Only real love can forgive in this way. And if you do not know that, there's this old song, if you don't know me by now, then you will never, ever, ever know me. And that is what I want to leave you with. If you don't know that only real love can say yes after all of this and give it one more shot, then you will never, ever know me, nor will you know real love. Thank you for listening to the Godly Chick podcast. Tune in next Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear the continuation of Season 2, where we will be discussing topics and stories that are all about love. Don't forget to follow Godly Chick Ministries on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Godly Chick. That's GODLYCHIK. And always remember, when you know who's you walking with, it ain't hard to be a godly chick. Have a blessed day, and I look forward to having you all here with me next week. For my innocence, but he changed me, and I knew you can do you if you want to. I'ma do me, boldly and holy. The end of this journey is all that really matters to me. I'll let my light shine bright. I can handle this. Persecution, rejection, laughing at me is all 'cause I'm a godly chick. Yeah. Yeah.